U.S. Open week.
That's right.
Torrey Pines. There it is.
Big week. Big week.
The tight shot on Mike.
I'm foolish right now. Last couple weeks ago on the podcast, I was like, Torrey's not going to play tough. It's not going to be hard. Meanwhile.
Yeah, right? I mean, first of all, we're going to have to show the obligatory, how deep the rough is. Everybody does those
That's
shots.
a standard social media post going forward.
Yeah,
I
like
think, right?
every U.S. Open, you're going to get that.
Yep.
We got that. But Torrey, already long course, we're going to talk about how they lengthened it. So it's long.
It's tight. Yep.
Fast greens, hard to hit from the rough, hard to hold from the rough, and that rough, we'll talk about that. That's going to be a big thing. But, guys, welcome back, of course, to Coffee and Golf. We're here every Friday that we can be. Yeah, but
Otherwise,
busy couple. This is our busy season, guys. We're out on the golf course. We're filming as much as possible. In fact, we've got a lot of great videos coming up. Sad to see, though, the Pinehurst series wrap up. 5-episode series wrapped up yesterday with a quick match at the Cradle. How much fun was that?
It was so much fun. I mean, the Cradle was my favorite. That was like my highlight. And the whole series itself. I love these travel series, and I love the fact that we're back and doing them.
Yeah, so much fun. And we're going to be doing another one around Atlantic City. There's so much great golf. We want to really showcase that Jersey area.
Jersey Shore Tour.
Our office is here in Jersey, and I think it doesn't get enough attention for how much great golf is there. So we're going to be doing another big series there. You're going to see that just in a matter of months, not even. It'll be up real soon.
Pretty soon. So, as always, want to hear where you guys are watching from. Drop it in the comments. Pete, what's going on? We know you're out in Japan.
And we're out ahead of the broadcast this morning.
Yeah.
Yesterday, delay. They had the fog delay, and then ended up having to stop early because it got dark. But this way, hey, maybe you guys get a little taste of it. We'll talk about it this morning.
We're going to talk about it, but, man, that's a course we got to go play.
Oh, tell me about it. And we see like the farmers? What do they play there?
Farmers, yeah.
The farmers. I mean, it's so sad, of course, to see Tiger not in the field because he is such a Torrey Pines specialist. What has he won there? 5 times?
Something like that.
Something crazy like that. But, one thing we do have is some really promising news about Tiger. Some more videos kind of coming out, seeing him actually putting weight on the leg, walking a little bit. We'll show you guys those in a second. Of course, we're also going to talk about Tiger may not physically be there at Torrey, but he's definitely there in spirit with the plaque that they installed. I thought that was
that was pretty cool. Yeah,
really cool to see that. So we're gonna check that out as well. We got people checking in. Boise, Idaho, sunny and 70. Hey,
it's about what it is here, right?
Get out there and play some golf then.
Yeah,
that's what we should be doing right now. But hey, we got to do our Friday check-in. We love talking with you guys. So let's go. Before we talk about the U.S. Open, Torrey Pines, I want to quickly recap because I thought we saw some really interesting stuff last week out of Palmetto. I mean, that first of all, of course, we haven't seen before. Looked really good.
Brand new event.
And how about this kid, Garrick Higgo? Yeah. First of all, I love that last name. How cool is that last name?
It's cool. Higgo.
It's growing up. Everybody had to call him Higgo.
That's got to be his nickname.
Right.
Yeah, Higgo.
Yeah, hey, Higgo. Right.
Right.
But 22 years old. And believe it or not, again, we kind of continue to see these records being broken on the PGA Tour, or at least matched. He is the first player since 1988 to win a PGA Tour title in just his second start.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that is impressive. And even, more so, I believe that makes it 5 wins that he has. It's his 5th win in just 27 starts worldwide. So obviously not just on the PGA Tour, but it just shows you this is not kind of a flash in the pan type of thing. This is a kid who's coming up quick.
Man. I mean, there were some names in that field, too. I mean, Brooks was in that field.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't an easy competition to win. Cool-looking dude, small kid, Titleist hat, flat bill. He looks he has that familiar look. I think he seems like a cool kid. I think he'll have more wins. I mean, he moved up the rankings this week for sure.
No doubt. And the good news is because of the win, we're going to see a whole lot more of them.
Yeah.
So, first of all, a win like that, you don't believe how much it changes these guys' career. I know his career just started. But first and foremost, that books him a spot on the PGA Tour. He punches his card through 2023.
That's awesome.
He also punched his card. He's got his invite to the Masters and to the U.S. Open, so we see him in the field this week.
So
cool. Can you imagine, talk about life-changing event. Here's a guy's building up some wins worldwide on some other tours.
Yeah.
He gets to the PGA Tour, second time out there, wins against a pretty darn good field, and now he's in it. He's in the mix.
I'll tell you, even the million you win is a life-changing event. And then to get all that on top of it, you're kind of set up for a while. And all you got to do is really go out and win one more time or crack a couple more top tens, and all of a sudden your career has now blossomed. And I think we could see it out of this kid.
No doubt about it. And
hope he plays well this week.
Yeah, not to mention the sponsors will be knocking on his door and things like that.
100%.
Guys, everybody's checking in some great places.
Yeah, where do we got? Niagara
Nova
Falls.
Scotia, Niagara Falls. Guys, good morning, everybody. Hope you've got your coffee ready to talk a little bit U.S. Open. Big week. I mean, man, it's major season. We're squarely there. You know, the majors are starting to come along. And one thing I'd say is, and we'll kind of jump a little bit ahead, but I got to talk about Koepka a little bit because it's becoming the most predictable thing. Like, major, Koepka's in the mix. Mm-hmm. You know? He just doesn't slip it out. Obviously, he's not going to win every single one of them, but he just always shows up. He just shows up.
It's almost like the other events are just like practice rounds.
Yeah. Well, he said before he doesn't practice for your regular, day in and day out, weekly events.
Right.
Which is nuts. He puts all of his focus on the majors.
He's got his system.
But it makes me wonder, what do you guys think? Throw it in the comments. Give us a quick number. How many, obviously, Koepka's still early in his career. How many major wins do you think Koepka will rack up before he retires? Do you have an idea? What do you think?
We were talking about this, one of our guys, Riley, yesterday, and he was saying 10, and I agree with that. I think 10 is kind of a good number for him. If he stays healthy, he's got those injury problems.
Yeah.
And what does he have, 4?
I think he's got, and you know what? It shows you how much respect we've got for the guy saying 10.
Yeah.
You realize 10 is up there with the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just
7. I'll stick with 10.
The way he's in that mix every single time, 4 majors per year. I mean, 10 is an attainable number for him.
Brian's saying 9. Bradley 8. Matt's saying if he stays healthy, 9.
If he stays healthy, 9. But if he doesn't, 5. 9. We got a couple of 9s, 8s.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I'm right in there too. I would say somewhere in that 7 on the low end and 10 on the high end range. Like I said, he's just too much in the mix every single time, and his game transfers because you think about it, it's not like he's winning the Masters every year at the same track. He's winning the U.S. Open and stuff like that, and it's moving around, and he's playing these different setups, and he's winning. So, again, I think the health is going to be the big thing. Got a couple more 10s in here.
And I was just looking to see if anyone else had double digits than Jack and Tiger, and Walter Hagen has 11. Ben Hogan 9, Gary Player 9, Tom Watson 8.
Logan asked the obvious question: with that knee, 7. I mean, it's just true that's the wild card. But you see him it's insane when we're watching these clips of him hobbling up the stairs and not being able to bend down to read a putt. But then he's still in 5th place.
Vegas odds, man. Fool Vegas, go out there and blow the rest of the field away. That's what it is. I mean,
there you go.
No, I mean, it's cool to see. It's cool to see someone like that just goes into major mode. It just reminds me of Tiger.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And he's unfazed by things. I think this thing with Bryson has only invigorated him more. Which, by the way, I don't have a clip of it here, but did you see he photobombed him again?
Yeah, pretty great.
Now it's getting to a little bit comedic, which I like. I mean, at this point, it's a little bit funny. And who on earth is not tuning in to see each week what these two are going to do? Right.
It's funny at this point. You're hoping to see something go back and forth.
And the rumors have flown around that they were tried to pair them together, and then some people said that Bryson said no, but then Bryson said that he thought it would be fun. So who knows what's really happening behind closed doors?
Right.
I think the PGA Tour and the USGA is a little bit hesitant because they don't want to make it a carnival out there, but they also know ratings go through the roof if you put these two together.
100%.
Mike Fleming says that the Koepka's sandbagging. You never know. I mean, the kind of the head games that they play with each other out there. But all right, so speaking of Torrey Pines, one big name to see back in the field this week is Jon Rahm. That was like I talked about a heartbreaking moment about 2 weeks ago.
Big favorite this week, yeah.
Yeah, he comes off the 18 green. They tell him right there he tested positive for COVID. And he had to withdraw. He had a 5-stroke lead, but it didn't appear that he was at all 6-stroke lead.
6 strokes.
It's crazy. Doesn't appear to have been feeling unwell at all. No effects there as far as it not holding him back because he's right back in the mix.
He's right back in. He's
Where
T5.
was
T5 -2.
There you go.
After day 1. You know what's funny? The reason I know it was 6 back is that meme that was floating around with Rahm. They said they should have let him play because he was 6 strokes ahead. Essentially, he was social distance from the rest of the field.
Give me 6 feet or 6 strokes.
6 strokes
That's
or 6
all.
feet, you're good.
That's funny.
But yeah, great to see him in the mix. Like I said, he's the favorite in the week in DraftKings, right on the top. It's interesting, I mean, he outranks the Rorys, the Dustins, coming in, and for a good reason. This is a guy who could definitely tear up.
And
Torrey.
he, like Koepka, is a guy who's there. He shows up every time.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we're seeing him right in the mix.
It's like a different mental game, right?
Yeah.
It must be.
I think that's a huge separator. Some of these guys just have that strength of that mental game that they can just, no matter what, because their game ebbs and flows.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to have their A game every single time. It's those guys who are able to still grind it out and rise to the occasion. We talked about Koepka being a little bit injured, but he still does it. Speaking of injured, Tiger won here on a broken leg.
Yeah.
Did you see this plaque? Here we go.
It's epic. It's so good.
I mean, that is so cool. It said, expect anything different. Playing on a fractured leg, Tiger Woods sank a 12-foot birdie putt on the 72nd hole to force a playoff with Rocco Mediate.
He just squeaked that putt in, too.
Yep. And Woods defeated Mediate 19 holes the following day. And that's, first of all, how cool is a 19-hole Monday playoff? Nobody paid attention at work that day, by the way.
Yeah. That's a call-out sick.
But so they installed this thing, and I love that. I mean, it just shows you, again, Tiger's presence and mark on the game, whether he's physically there in the field or not. And I think you're just going to see more and more of that. We've had the opportunity to see in person, like when we went to Baltusrol, you had Jack Nicklaus plaque there where he hit that famous 1-iron. We see like Hogan and some of these other guys who have that. So to see Tiger commemorated in the same way is really cool.
Those things are cool to see out there.
They really are. We were fortunate enough, not too long ago, we had Rocco Mediate on the podcast. Talked a little bit about that.
We didn't talk about Tiger, though.
We didn't mention that with
I think
him?
we're talking about injuries and back and stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't think we dove
dipped
down.
into that a little bit.
We might have dipped in a little bit, but he went full into it yesterday on the broadcast.
Yeah.
They had him on the web.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's not shy about talking about it.
He's not shy about talking about it, but I think he was asked the question, like, do you think your life would have been different if he missed that putt, Tiger, on 18 and you won? And he goes, oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think he hinted at, like, he was going down, like, a path of, like, his rock starness would have went up and up and up, and his whole life would have shifted. It's true.
But he also, I mean, at the end of the day, that largely put him in a huge spotlight. I mean, it no matter what, even though he didn't come out with a win, Rocco, that lifted him. I mean, he played in a one-on-one playoff with Tiger Woods on Monday. Everybody watching 19 holes.
So cool.
I mean, that's spotlight,
He says people to this day stop him in the grocery store and everything and ask him about it.
Do that
every day. Yeah.
I mean, that's the question. Do you want to be the guy who gets asked every day about losing
the time
to
you
Tiger?
lost to Tiger? I think I'd talk about that forever because that made you. I mean, that made you, I guess, right?
Yeah. Let's see here. A lot of guys checking in. So Jack Armstrong's Rory performed better than expected yesterday.
Yep.
Let's see. I'm just checking through you guys' comments coming fast and furious. I love it. Let's see. Okay, so anyway, I get sidetracked because I want to read all the comments. But so we had that. Let's just talk a little bit about Torrey. So, of course, as we said at the top of the show, you're going to always have your kind of has to do it. I'm going to find the clip here. The rough. So this one came from Ian Poulter, and he shows a little bit. He's just greenside here. He's saying, can you see my ball? I can't see it. And it's just in that thicket. In that thicket.
It's crazy.
And, I mean, honestly, talk about expect anything different. It's the U.S. Open. They're going to grow the rough in.
Right.
Just be prepared for it, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It is what it is. Now, interestingly enough, when we saw it Wingfoot, right, you saw Bryson come in with this kind of like just smash it as far as you can, and then just wedge it in from there, and just forget the fact that you're going to be in the heavy rough. He just powered his way through it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you'll see the same thing here at Torrey because the greens are so fast and hard to hold in that way. No matter who you are, you could be the strongest guy on earth. Sure, you can power that ball out of the rough, but the physics of it, you're not going to be able to put nearly as much spin on it with a ball buried in the rough. So it does get harder and harder to hold it. So it'll be interesting to see. And we're going to talk in a minute about lengthening. We're going to talk about Augusta because big news out of that. But what do you think?
I feel like we're having the same conversation we had, but going into Wingfoot. Deep, heavy rough.
Yeah.
Long guys can't bomb it off the tee because they can't get through that rough, but Bryson proved that whole thing wrong. Right.
Right. He proved that whole thing wrong. But I just don't know. I mean, I think that's that combo. It's that combo factor of it being a tight course, a long course. But if you do try to bomb it and you end up in that rough, you no doubt are going to hurt your chances of putting it close
Yeah.
to the pin because of the fact that these things are going to be quick.
Yeah.
But we saw some guys yesterday just draining some long putts.
I know. I love seeing that.
Eagle putts,
Yep.
everything else. So, I mean, these guys, they seemed like they had a hold of those greens.
I think so. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing some decent scores. I mean, I don't know what, I think maybe minus, 8, minus 7 might be the end. I don't know. But I had an idea, and I'm curious to see what everyone out there watching thinks of this. So put it in the comments, your thoughts. How cool would it be if one year they flipped the script? Okay. They made the course ridiculously easy. And we want guys shooting like 55s, 58s. Like, would that be a fun U.S. Open? Because you think about it, as easy as it, make it as easy as possible or make it as hard as possible, guys still have to chip and putt. Just like Bubba said that time. No matter what, you still got to chip and putt. So it's going to come down to that.
Right.
To win.
I'll tell you what, I want to get your take. Put it in the comments. Would you want to see
would that be entertaining?
An easy setup?
Just circles on the cards, just like, holy cow. Guys playing from the front tees, 330-yard par fours. The rough is all mowed down.
Well, on the tour, we always have the couple of tracks that are a little bit easier, and usually the winning score is somewhere around 22 under. Mm-hmm. But the question is, do you want to see that? I think the hard part of that would be it would kind of screw up the records of being like the all-time low score at a U.S. Open.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It might have to be its own event. Maybe
because otherwise if you break that standard, I think when we look at like the records, like someone goes 8 under in a U.S. Open, he did under U.S. Open conditions. Otherwise, you're going to have a guy comes in 22 under, and then nobody can ever match it again.
That's true. So to keep the records fresh, maybe it's like a one-off. Like they created this Palmetto Championship, so maybe they just call it like, I don't know, the Rubber Duck Championship, where everything is just
a separate thing.
But here, I think we got some people who think I would love to see some PlayStation scores. Yeah, right?
Jake says, I like seeing them struggle. Really rewards those who power through.
Yeah.
And I do, too. I want to see the best golfers in the world play in the hardest conditions.
I love it.
And, I mean, sure, filling in with some other events that are fun and they go real, like, dramatically low. But those 4 events in the I want to see those guys having a grind.
Yeah. They grind. Just like Sawgrass every year, we see them grind.
Yeah.
It's a hard course. So the U.S. Open, yeah, for sure. I was curious to get your take. I love it.
Yeah. Okay, so that would be definitely interesting. But regardless, Torrey, like I said, hard, tight course made even more difficult. And I think we're going to continue to see this lengthening, stretching out. So we just recently saw at the PGA, Kiowa play as the longest major in history. And now you've got Torrey. They stretched out to 7,698 yards. And I think, too, they adapt as they go. It's not something that's just static. So the USGA, I think you're going to see if you get scores coming in a little too low. Mm-hmm. I think you're going to start to see pins getting a little bit more difficult.
Yep.
I think you're going to see tee boxes, a little bit stretched out. They do have room within reason to kind of make that course even a little bit more difficult.
Jeez, yeah.
But one thing they have had, other than that, the fog delay, they've had some pretty good weather.
Yeah, they have.
So that does help.
Looks gorgeous. Looks gorgeous, man. Full packed crowd.
Yeah. So side note, by the way, I know you wanted to tell us about the beer line. What did you say?
Ridiculous. One of our guys, Connor, wrote something on the site this morning. The beer lines, he said, put the lines at Disney to shame.
Yeah, we've got a little video of it here. This is
Take a look at this. And not only that, I mean, $50 for 3 beers. Guys, are you waiting on this line? Come on.
No.
I'll
tell you the answer right now is no, because if I'm there at a U.S. Open at Torrey Pines, I'm not wasting 2 hours of my day waiting online for a beer.
Yeah.
I'm out there following groups, and if the line clears up, I'll hit it. Otherwise, forget about it. But I mean, look at that thing, and that's talk about. That's the one other big benefit if you do get fortunate enough to get tickets to the Masters, is that they don't gouge on pricing. All like the sandwiches, $2-3.
Yeah,
beer is like $3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mike says waiting in line like that for overpriced beer. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
All right, so some couple of things in the news this week that I definitely want to talk about. One, the big news, Tiger spotted walking again. And what I like to see about this, although he's using the crutches, we're seeing him put a little bit of weight on it. Mm-hmm. Clearly the leg is still wrapped up. I'm sure there's a lot going on there because there was extensive surgeries that he had. But just seeing him moving around, seeing him, again, seemingly in good spirits, and just starting to put some weight on that. I mean, what did we talk about? I was like 2 weeks ago, we talked about him being ready to play again by the Open Championship next year. I don't know. I
think
feel like he's
this
still a
looks
little ways
promising.
off, but it is promising, no doubt about it.
Let's think about this. We're at June, so I mean, if he can get off those crutches and just start walking by the end of this year, 6 months from now,
Yeah.
and then really put in that golf rehab for the next 6, 7, 8 months.
But hey, look,
You never know.
I mean, golf at the end of the day, it's going to put a lot of strain there because not only are you putting a lot of force on it when you're swinging,
that's true.
but think about it. In a traditional 18-hole round, you're walking something like 3-4 miles. I mean, that's a lot to put on the leg.
That's a lot.
And
And his age, it might be harder to recover. And
well, listen, but he does have the best doctors in the world.
That's true.
And listen, I'll tell you what, I'm rooting for him as big as anybody on earth, but I also have to be a realist here. I mean, a year, I don't know, a year from now.
That's
1 year from now. You guys tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. We got a range. Mike says, I think Tiger's done. The leg is toast. I certainly hope not. I certainly hope not. But, hey.
By the way, Matt, going back on the beer, he said, wait for the beer lines at Whistling Straits for the Ryder Cup. Nothing like beer in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
I'm
there you go.
right?
Yeah.
But anyway.
I can't wait for the Ryder Cup.
Yeah, I can't wait
year.
for that either. But, yeah, let's see what happens with Tiger. It's a year from now. We're going to be in this chair doing coffee and golf.
He
We'll
makes
see.
a good point. He says Daly used a cart sometimes. Why not Tiger? Because Daly had the exemption for, like, I guess whatever type of handicap situation they were considering it at the time. I don't remember the details, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I don't remember what. He was having a knee operation.
I don't remember. If anybody knows the details, they can throw it in the comments.
I think Tiger would get whatever he wants, right? I mean, they would bring him a cart made for him.
They'll carry him around to get it.
The ratings,
just for the ratings of him playing
come on.
again. But, hey, I'm just not counting him out. I just think the year timeline is a little bit aggressive. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll see.
So the other thing was, we mentioned this earlier, talking about lengthening courses. We don't know all the details. A lot of this is just kind of rolling in from some aerial footage. But we've got some shots from the air of Augusta, and there's clearly some stuff going on here. So you take a look here. And this one, the tweet says a tee from the at the par 5 15th is moved back for the 2022 Masters, and you see a lot of work going on there. I mean, extensive work. Now, of course, Augusta, it has absolutely unlimited resources when it comes to getting this place in shape.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no doubt that this won't look anything like this. This will be pure as can be come April. But it just shows you that the focus has been on lengthening these courses. And I had a little bit more information on it. Let me just pull out that article from Golficity today.
What was the, like why?
Well, that's the thing.
I mean, we know a lot of courses are doing this now in the last
so
year or so.
They're extending 13 and 15 from what we can see.
Okay.
They're also taking away the majority of the trees down the right-hand side of 11. And there's no word exactly what they're doing, but you have those images that are out there. And you guys check out golficity.com or the Golficity app. Great article from Connor. Did a little bit of a write-up on it, breaking it down a bit. But I don't know. I mean, obviously, I think that they were a little bit, put off with some of like Bryson's comments.
Right.
What did he call it? Like a par 67 or something crazy. And it ended up biting him,
Of course.
But I think that the writing is on the wall when you start to see the trend, especially the young guns. Some of these guys are just at the highest peak level of fitness. Some of the things that they're applying, like you saw Bryson bulking up, that's only going to continue. I think you're going to start to see more and more guys who can just absolutely bomb the ball. And I think
so they're just getting ahead of all that.
I think they want to get out ahead of that. I think they want to be ready for it.
Jack says the whole 11 redesign is really good. I like that they're moving back towards the Bobby Jones original design.
Yeah. And I think that opening the place up a little bit could be cool. We recently had the opportunity to play Forest Hill down in Jersey last week, and we had played it 6 years ago, and they took a number of trees out, and I thought that although I hate to see trees come down, in certain spots I think it makes a lot of sense, and it just started to open up this just beautiful views around the course. You had more visibility. It also helps with like the grass growing in and not having as many tree cover. So who knows? But yeah, either way, big changes, and I think we're going to find out more and more of it as we get closer to April. Be interested to see what that ends up happening.
Sure, it'll look beautiful.
Yeah. And then, of course, in the news, another thing we had is a wild moment on the Corn Ferry Tour.
Yeah.
So get this. So there's no video of this, but basically what happened was one guy ends up throwing a punch, ends up arrested. And this all started with supposedly one of the players would not help the other look for a lost ball out there. And the one player had the lost ball said, "You could have helped me look." And player B says, and it was actually his dad who was caddying for him. He said, "You could hit it straight." And then I guess it was on after that.
It was on.
And those are paraphrased quotes because this is kind of all coming through hearsay of the people that were there. But it was
wild.
Yeah, wild. Hey, side note, Pete asked about the visual comparisons for Forest Hill. Unfortunately not, because when we played it last, it was 6 years ago. It was before we were filming. We played there in a media event for a company called VPAR. So we got to experience it, but we didn't film it. But we did have a lot of fun filming it out there just this week. So that video will be coming up real soon. But anyway, I mean, crazy about that. And I saw something interesting. Somebody made a comment somewhere on Twitter. It said, only in golf would a fight end up with an arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of true. You think about it. Hockey, if you got arrested every time you fought, there'd be no one left to play.
Right.
Football, they get into skirmishes out there. They just separate them.
Right.
But I guess golf, I don't know. It's just a little bit of a
you
different.
Can't throw haymakers on the course.
Yeah, you can't just be out there.
But the guy, from what I heard, he attacked him. The guy was lining up his putt. He came from behind. He grabbed him. I watched some interview where he did that.
Wow, that's
and he started to I think he sucker punched him or something.
Ugh.
That's a different story right there. So. But, the other day at Forest Hill, you were looking at your ball on the third hole. Remember in that hill?
Yeah.
And I thought about telling you, dude, you could just have hit it straight.
Just could have hit it straight.
That popped into my head.
There you go. And then I'll just start throwing haymakers.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of haymakers, I want to do this week's Heartbreak of the Week. And this is always fun, week in and week out. We had thought about maybe we should do our heartwarming moment of the week with it being Father's Day weekend. And
we couldn't find any.
So many out there playing with their kids. But, yeah, no, this one was too good to pass up.
Too good to pass.
So look at this poor guy. He sets up. First of all, you got to get his optimism. You got to give him credit for optimism because he thinks he's going to get through that window. Hits off the trees, ends up in the water behind him.
Yeah.
We're going to call this from bad to worse. But
not only did he not advance it, but now he has a stroke penalty.
Now he's in the water and he's further back. But again, look where he started. I mean, what is he thinking he's going to do here?
Nothing good was going to come out of this.
He's lining it up to snake it between those two trees right there, which are literally about 2 feet apart. And he shanks it right.
What tree did he hit? Not the one right in front of him.
No, he shanks it way right. It hits a tree. Or maybe he pulled it left. It hit that tree.
I think
he
hit that tree in front of him.
Yeah, he hits that tree in front. It bounced off another tree, comes back, and ends in the water in front of him. And you know what? You see the smile on his face? There are definitely moments in golf when all you can do is laugh.
That's it.
And you guys get it. Look at this. Jack says, relatable. Tyler says, well, there was a gap. There is a gap. I love it. I love the optimism.
This guy's got my optimism. I see a window, I go for it.
Matt says 4 trees before a pond.
That's great.
That takes talent to hit 4 trees and then put it in a pond.
There's always a gap, guys.
But, guys, make sure you tag us or use the hashtag or, what do you call it? Heartbreak of the Week. Tag us, whatever. We love to see those videos. If you guys find one that you want to showcase here on Coffee and Golf, make sure you tag us so we can take a look at that. All right, hop right into our Making Cuts, Making Bucks segment, which for some reason my graphic is not working. But
it's under construction. Is that because we're coming up with the jingle finally?
We need the jingle. We got anybody out there who's watching who's a jingle
Can someone
guy?
do jingles
let's make
Making Cuts, Making Bucks?
And Heartbreak of the Week. They were writes itself.
Yeah.
Heartbreak of the week. Yeah, we could do that.
We could do that.
All right. So, Mike, who do you got this week?
All right, no-brainer, guys. No-brainer. We're going Brooks C. Brooks. He was my biggest play going in on my DraftKings Sportsbook. Funny. I talk about this all the time. I like to take, $20, $30 every week and put $5 on my favorite 6. Yeah. Because some of these odds are really great. I mean, you throw $5 on Phil Mickelson this week, you can win $500. Golf odds are incredible, by the way. But I love Brooks. I think he's the man when it comes to majors. We just talked about it, and I don't think that anything's going to stop him this week. I think he's going to tear it up.
Okay. Yeah, and I
think he's a winner. I'm not going to just say making cuts. I think he wins it.
He's in striking position. So it can definitely happen. And guys, while we do this, drop your picks in the comments so we can take a look at some of those. This week, you know what I'm going to go with? I'm going to go with Xander. We've kind of flirted with him here and there, but again, he's talk about
Contender.
knocking at the door. The guy's always a contender. Listen to this. In 2021, he's got a T2 at the Waste Management, T2 at the Farmers Insurance Open, second place at the CJ Cup. I mean, here's a guy who's always there, but he doesn't have a win in 2021 yet. He does have 6 top 10 finishes.
Yeah.
I just feel like if there's going to be that moment when he finally breaks through that and wins, and I think that this could be his week. Where is he right now on that leaderboard? I think he was hanging somewhere
he's
around,
right around where Brooks is.
somewhere around 5th place as well, striking distance.
Yes, they're both tied for 5.
There you go, 5th. So one of our 5th place maybe can win. But he also, too, I mean, he's a California guy. You know, he knows California golf. He's got experience there. I got to just go with Xander this week, and I see a couple of you guys are saying the same. My pick as well. Let's see. Pete is going with Rory. Rory,
Pete's always going with Rory. Oh, yeah, he said always Rory.
Always
Yeah,
Rory.
there it
It's
is, isn't
simple.
it?
You just know his pick. But yeah, I think Xander is going to have a good week this week, and I'd love to see him take one home.
Yeah. All right, man. Those are good picks. I see this come to Ireland. We have to go to Ireland. Back.
How great would it be to see even Brooks and
Bryson.
Xander, in the final
Brooks
pairing.
and Xander in the final pairing?
Yeah,
That'd be
then
pretty
you and
cool.
I could
You
do
could
it.
just
There's
go-
the haymaker.
There's the haymaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, then we'll have to really duke it out. But anyway, guys, Kyle says Rahm. And you know what?
Yeah.
I think Rahm is a good pick as well.
He can
And
make
I
a
think
statement.
There's no doubt he's playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wants to get that one back,
Mm-hmm.
after having to withdraw. So I think it's a good one. Let's see. Rahm. Doug saying Rahm with a good revenge story. There you go. Let's see some of your other picks here. Casey, Xander, or Tommy Fleetwood. I love the strength of field. I love seeing all the names.
It's funny. I had my last. Speaking of DraftKings bets, I had my last $16.10 in my DraftKings account, and I handed the odds over to my wife. I said, scroll and pick anybody. So she goes, "Ooh, Scotty Scheffler," and because she knows about him because he grew up in a town where she works. Boom, clicked it. It would be a huge payday, Scotty. Huge.
Scotty,
I don't even know where he is on the leaderboard.
Make it happen, Scotty. And you know what I'm a little bit disappointed with is that you didn't put anything on your boy,
Molinari.
Francisco Molinari.
No, I'm so over him. We had such
Come
we had such a
on.
falling out.
He doesn't even know. He doesn't know.
He
You're
doesn't
falling
know.
Out.
He stood me up
You
for
just
dinner.
know. Yeah.
It was brutal. I showed up. He didn't.
Yeah. You should have told him about it. Anyway, 3rd place right now. You never know. And then how about Russell Henley was doing yesterday? First place.
Yep. I don't think Russell hangs on though. I think things are going to shift hardcore in the weekend. It's going to be a whole different field up there on the top.
It's
just
going
gonna
to be such a shuffle.
It's going to shuffle.
Even Masters winner Matsuyama is in there, tied for 5th. There's just so much. And Molinari's brother Eduardo, he's in 10th place.
Yeah.
I'd love to see those two paired together.
Imagine that.
That'd be
Sunday
something.
pairing.
Tyler asks, who's the low Molinari today? I think it's going to be Francisco. I feel like he's going to be in the mix. Mike's written him off. Mike's been stood up. He's upset, but
Yeah.
I think you're going to see him in the mix.
I hope he wins though.
Yeah.
Good for him.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us for Coffee and Golf. Guys, enjoy your weekend. Father's Day weekend. Hopefully you get out there and
Happy
get
Father's
to play.
Day to all the fathers.
Yeah, absolutely. Get out there and play some golf. Enjoy the U.S. Open. What a weekend it could be. Great weather. U.S. Open, Father's Day. This is going to be a fun one.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. We'll be back with you guys again next week. Enjoy it. Make sure you guys drop a comment below, even after the live show, because we do read the comments. I'd love to hear some of your picks for this week. We'll see you again next week.